Hello everyone, my name is Maria Saxton and I am an environmental planner with Hill Studio. Today we want to review 11 case studies that focus on these 6 focus areas here on the slide. While all different, these case studies have various elements that are relevant to this specific project. The first case study we'll look at is the Royal Vet College in the UK, which is renowned as one of the world's leading vet colleges and research centers. The new development allows for an increased number of students to live on campus by providing accommodation for a little over 200 students, which is very close to the number of students that we've discussed housing for this DeBusk project. The new low-rise development is sensitive to its rural setting by keeping a low profile and maintaining views across the campus. This development replaced an old residential hall, providing improved accommodations that better suit the needs of the college's mature student demographic. The majority of the development is broken down into a collection of low-rise 3- and 4-story pavilions that are arranged around courtyards of varying sizes. The original campus buildings were built of brick, and recent additions to the campus have been timber-clad. The new development references these building materials as shown here. Here's how the landscape design was used to connect students in this housing development to the rest of the campus in an organic way. Next, we'll look at the Savannah College of Art and Design, which is one of the best examples of a revitalization project in the country. They made a major effort to retain the historical significance of the city and retrofitted historical buildings for classrooms, labs, conference buildings, and residential halls. This example is the Pulaski House, which was built in 1914. This is a residential hall for approximately 60 students. They live in single-floor apartments and also loft-style apartments. Here's a view of the interior. This is much more unique than what you would see in a traditional dorm room style development. This shows how valuable retaining the historical significance of a place can be. And this slide shows another view of the interior. Next is a bit closer to home at VCU in Richmond. They have been revamping their campus master plan over the past few years, and they recently released the newest version. While of course, we're certainly not looking to do a student housing development in an urban area like Richmond, this case study shows us how we can revitalize a blighted area in a community and make it an integrated part of the community. VCU is placing new housing here along Grace Street corridor to enhance the relationship between the campus and the rest of the city. This will be a mixed-use area, so there will also be local restaurants and shops for both students and the public to enjoy. Here's another view showing the new construction compared to existing buildings. This shows us how you can both take advantage of existing infrastructure and also build new while still creating an integrated community. Here we'll look at a very unique housing community at UC Davis. This is an on-campus cooperative housing community that includes 14 fiberglass domes that house 26 students. It's one of very few co-housing communities in the US that are geared towards students. The community itself was actually proposed by students in the 1960s. They wanted to create a less expensive housing option that was on campus. This shows us how students' wants and needs can really drive the design and structure of a community. And since this is on campus property, it has been largely funded and supported by the campus. This gives you a sense of what the inside of the domes look like. You'll see a small study space here, which is especially important for students, as we heard in our focus group with the students. And to give an idea of costs, rent is about $540 a month per person for a 2-person dome. Next is the University of Virginia's Mountain Lake Biological Station. This is a full-service residential field station here in Southwest Virginia. This is a very rural setting and was actually quite inexpensive to develop originally. This is partly because most of the housing units are seasonal and do not have AC or heat. The station itself maintains over 30 buildings, a handful of which are specifically for housing. Many of these date back from the early 1930s, which is likely when some of the structures in the Ewing area were probably built. Next is an eco-village example. This example shows what you can do with a big piece of property in multiple phases. The eco-village will have over 150 homes and is to be phased in 3 stages. Stage 1, with houses being built now, includes 42 homes. This village has a major focus on sourcing local materials to build the homes and allowing the homeowners to choose from a range of building styles. This gave them an increased sense of empowerment and control, which might be something that students could greatly benefit from. Their site plan here shows their proposed amenities, which tells you what you can do with such a large piece of property. They include greenhouses, a tool library, a business center, and even more in their master plan. The next few case studies are focused on the cottage community concept, which was identified as a major area of interest in the student survey that Hill Studio sent out. This specific community is in Washington State and shows how you can design small-scale homes in clusters of 8 to 12. This site plan shows how they are circling a shared public lawn. Each cottage is unique in its own way. Each household names their own cottage and creates their own garden landscape, which makes it all the more interesting to look at. Here's a closer view of a few of the cottages. They're typically under 1,000 square feet each. Next, this micro-cottage community serves seniors and veterans in Florida. This offers a simple, affordable alternative to nursing homes. It combines the privacy and open space of suburban neighborhoods with the easy upkeep and amenity of multifamily housing. They consider themselves to be a comprehensive housing facility. They provide various community amenities, including bus shuttles, laundry facilities, dining services, and various health programs. So even on a smaller piece of property, they were still able to pack a lot of amenities together. Here's an interesting design element that they incorporated. Individual driveways were omitted in lieu of centralized parking. This allows for safer walkways, easier access to public transportation, and a more engaging social environment to build a neighborhood culture. Next, we'll look at a community that is currently still in development in Atlanta, Georgia. But it's really interesting because it integrates housing of various sizes. In our focus groups, we've identified the value of providing housing, not just for students, but potentially for faculty at DeBusk and the local community as well. By providing a range of housing sizes, we can provide housing for a larger variety of people. This community is planned on about 8 acres and will have 40 cottages, each between 500 and 1,000 square feet. As you can see, it also integrates a ton of green space on the edge of the community. Another cottage community we will look at is Wyer's End in Washington State. Right now there are 18 homes, and eventually they would like 28 homes. It's within walking distance of the local town, which is certainly something that we would like to consider for students who may want to walk or bike. This community is actually situated on only 2.5 acres, so it's rather small compared to some of the others we've looked at. But what's really neat is that they were able to develop this odd scrap of land that other developers had overlooked and had practically been forgotten about. Here's a site plan of Wyer's End. Even on only 2.4 acres, they were still able to take the cluster housing approach. Then lastly, we'll look at another cottage community, this time in Oregon. As you can tell, there are a lot of these communities in the Pacific Northwest. This community is designed differently from the others we've looked at in that it focuses on privacy and personal space, which is often very important to students. The houses in this community are designed for privacy and placed so that no neighboring windows peer into another. Layers of personal space, so perennial hedges, low fences, private yards, covered porches, all of these separate the interior space from the more public areas. Private rooms are located further back or on the second floor, away from the activity, and every house has a private backyard or a deck. The plan includes 32 houses ranging in size from about 544 square feet to 1,800 square feet. And again, here, you'll see that they're designed in multiple clusters. And that is the last case study I have to share. Thank you all so much for your time.